as well. Look at this rotational couplet. This is right around Westinghouse and South Tryon. So this is just north of the Rivergate area. As you go down Tryon heading towards Lake Wylie, this is about to move towards areas at 485 and I-77, just east of the prime outlets, east of Top Golf, right there on 485, heading towards the Super Walmart, which is right there, and the Lowe's, which is at I-485 and 77. So that's where that rotation is. And let me pinpoint that on the map, and we'll rotate this and kind of show you. That's the area of rotation right there showing up on first warn Doppler radar. And what I'm going to do is I have the speed of this. Let me see. I think it's moving at 45 again, which is a pretty fast moving storm. Let's see. It's moving northeast at about 45 miles an hour. So very similar speed. Let's track this out to the east here. That looks a little slow. Let me redraw that so we got a better idea on that rotation. What I'm doing is I'm actually tracking the circulation, not the rain or the strongest storm. I'm going to track basically where the rotation within the storm is. So we'll track it northeast at 45 miles per hour. That would put it into areas around Matthews at 345. But first, it's going to head across I-485 and I-77 within the next 2 minutes. It's going to move into areas basically just northeast of the Steel Creek area, then move into areas of Park Road, basically there just around the Madison Park area, and then it's going to push east towards the South Park area, and then over towards Idlewild, and then up towards the Mint Hill-Matthews border. That's kind of the area that this seems to be tracking. Let's go back to the wider view, and I'll show you the overall tornado warning. That does include most of southern Mecklenburg County, just north of 485 and then up to Uptown and then all the way into Cabarrus County. So it does include a small section of Cabarrus County where we actually have that warning as well. And this is actually a separate storm from the first tornado warning. That warning was just to the north. That one is actually expired, and the new warning was issued for the one to the south. So that's the one we're tracking right now that is pushing northeast at 45 miles per hour. So basically, if you live anywhere south of Uptown to about Pineville Matthews Road, you need to be seeking shelter in the lowest level of your house, the most interior room. Get away from those outside walls and windows. Stay there for now. Go ahead and grab our app, grab the phone, head into your safe spot, and stay there until we give you the all clear. And I will do that. I'll give you the all clear once this storm pushes through, and we can kind of give you the all clear there. So here's the safe spot in your house. If you don't know and you haven't planned ahead of time, find that most interior room, hallway, closet, pantry, half bath. Could be any of those rooms. Sometimes it is a hallway. It's in the middle of the home or your business. If you're in an apartment building or a condo, try to get to the middle of your house as well. If you do have neighbors downstairs that you know, try to knock on their door and say, hey, can I come shelter down there? But even if you're at an upper floor, you can still get to the middle of your home, apartment, or townhome. That is still safer than being near an exterior wall. So let's widen this out, and you can see the view there. It's flying. I mean, these storms are moving very, very quickly right now. I would say probably closer to 50 based on the current track there. Let's go in close and kind of show you that rotation. It looks really broad, but right there is where we're seeing the rotation. It's crossing I-77, literally just south of the station here. The circulation is passing just south. So we just had some video from outside our station. Our station is just to the north of the circulation, absolutely pouring out there. So we would have no way to see this, even if there was a circulation that was visible because of the heavy rain which is coming down. This is essentially tracking just to the south of Woodlawn. So it's pushing northeast right now at about 45 miles per hour. Larry, this is a second storm compared to that first one that kind of died off, and then the second circulation
totally separated from that. So once again, this is for east central, if you get into the southern part of Cabarrus County and from Mecklenburg County, including the Charlotte area. That does include even the Uptown area. So if you are in Mecklenburg County, especially anywhere from South Park area over towards Matthews, all the way towards the airport area, take shelter now. Lowest place in your home. Surround yourself with as many walls as you can. We always talk about a helmet. It may sound corny, but it's true. Bicycle helmet, baseball helmet, football, whatever you have, a motorcycle helmet, put those on. If you have travel plans, avoid the road at the moment. This is a very dangerous situation. The amount of rain we're getting, a lot of very heavy rain, some very gusty winds, a lot of cloud to ground lightning being reported with this tornado. Once again, this is for Mecklenburg County, also for Cabarrus County, a totally different storm system than the one that we had earlier for York County in South Carolina.
So the roads I'm looking at basically between about Tyvola and Woodlawn is where we're seeing the tightest circulation, but could extend as far south as down to Archdale. So kind of, Archdale runs east to west. You've got Tyvola to the north of there, and then the next road up is Woodlawn. So it's somewhere in between those three roads. And we just got a new scan of the radar, Larry, and there is a tight circulation. It looks like just to the east of the Costco there off of Tyvola. So this is pushing east on Tyvola towards Park Road and South Boulevard. So think of that area between South Boulevard.
So a lot of population, a lot of businesses in there. Obviously, a lot of schools. I'm sure that those schools within that area are sheltering in place right now with this tornado warning in effect for Mecklenburg County. So that we're getting some. This is Doppler indicated. We are getting some very gusty winds. Even though it may not be on the ground as a tornado, it's still like a severe thunderstorm. You can have winds over 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
We have our reporters out there. We're getting some reports from them. We'll let you know about that.
Yeah, so Larry, this is what I'm looking at right here. I'm putting here, this is South Park Mall right there. So right here is Park Road. This is Park Road Park. This is heading north up towards Montford Drive and the Madison Park neighborhood. And then on the south side, you're down towards South Station Boulevard, those areas down on South Boulevard as you go south, heading towards areas towards 485. So the circulation is right on Tyvola, pushing due east, essentially right at South Park Mall, based on the circulation there. Now, it looks pretty broad, but in the last frame, we saw some brighter green colors. And why is that important? Well, the green returns are going towards the radar. The red is going away. So in between there, we know we have circulation of some kind, whether it's on the ground or aloft. We just got a new scan. It looks a little weaker there. Now, this based on where the radar is, the radar I'm using is the terminal radar, which is up near the airport. That is actually probably going to put that circulation at about 800 feet off the ground, Larry.
And once again, this is a very fast-moving system, moving at about 40, 45 miles per hour. So it's really moving quickly. But if you live in these areas, first of all, don't go outside your house to try to see it. It's wrapped in rain. You will not be able to see it if it were on the ground. If not, stay in your home. Go into shelter in place. Go to the lowest level if you can. Surround yourself by as many walls as you can, and avoid being on the highways. Dangerous driving out there.
Yeah.
Vanessa.
Yeah, you guys had mentioned that we've got some reporters standing by in different areas. Our Kendall Morris is over at Quail Hollow, so we want to get straight out to you, Kendall. What are you seeing? What are you hearing out in your neck of the woods?
Well, Vanessa, yeah, we were at Quail Hollow covering the Wells Fargo Championship. This was the first day where fans were allowed back to watch the tournament this year after its absence last year. And right now, everyone is off the course, and we actually left Quail Hollow, and we were at the Quail Corners Shopping Center. This is off of Park Road and Sharon Road West. Had to look at my phone to be able to tell you exactly where I am, but right now we just have a light drizzle of rain coming down. But as you can see around me, there's lots of clouds, fast-moving clouds. At some points, we've even seen some very, very dark, low-hanging clouds, so a bit concerning in this area. Everyone who was at the golf tournament is taking shelter at this point. We saw lots of fans with umbrellas and their rain gear out, and they were running to take shelter as the rain started coming down in that area. So right now, we are just trying to make sure that we are in a safe spot, and I'm sure lots of those people who are also at the championship are also trying to make sure that they are staying safe and weather aware throughout this event until it passes over. We'll send it back to you now.
All right, Kendall, thanks so much for that update. Let's send it over to Brad right now. Anything that you're seeing?
Yeah, the good news is I can tell you the circulation at least is just north of Quail Hollow, so they're going to be just on the edge of it. But for the same reason, everybody in that warning polygon, we tell you to seek shelter. Let me give you an update on where the circulation is right now, because as I look at the radar, it's essentially over the South Park area, and it's about to cross and push east towards Providence Road. So you can see some of the roads as we go in closer there. You can see there's Sharon Lane, there's Colony. So South Park, just to give you a reference for those who can't see, South Park is this big area right here. The circulation is just to the northeast. So this road right here is Providence Road. And you can see those bright greens there and those reds right there separated. So it's just to the northeast of of the South Park Mall, and it's moving into the Rama neighborhood and areas around Randolph Road. So as you go towards Randolph Road, South Sharon Amity Road, that's kind of where the circulation is, pushing towards the east, so northeast, and this is going to head towards areas just to the south and east of Uptown. So it's heading towards like areas out towards Independence, eventually towards like the Plaza area. That's where this would be going next. If it continues to move northeast, and Larry, it is moving so fast.
It really is, and that's why if you live in those areas we're talking about, what Brad was just talking about right there, if you live in East Charlotte, over towards what used to be the East Mall area, that area, all the way in as you get into Cabarrus County, take shelter now. It includes Raymond Road area, over towards Idlewild Road, in that area, and we got some. This is a live picture from. This is from our parking lot. The heavy rain that we've had out here. It's already moved through because you can see our flag barely moving. But that storm system was here about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Very fast moving, about 40, 45 miles per hour.
And just to put this in perspective, our radar is scanning once a minute. So when I see these huge jumps in the radar, it's moving that quickly in 1 minute. So the neighborhoods this is heading into is like Eastover, Myers Park, Wendover, Sedgwood, Echo Hills, Greer Heights, Coliseum Drive area, Cotswold, Sharonwood Forest, Providence Park, and then up towards Oakhurst. So all of those neighborhoods are in the path of this storm. And eventually this is going to make it up, as Larry was talking about earlier, it's moving up towards Cabarrus County. And because of the speed of this, I think it's really important that we tell people, hey, Cabarrus County's not there yet, but it's going to be there really, really quickly. There's another scan of the radar. So it just crossed Providence Road, Larry, looking at the circulation. And if you're wondering what I'm looking at, I'm looking at this area right here where those reds and greens are right next to each other. This is the Doppler radar telling us that we have winds going this direction towards the radar, and I'm going to switch radars here real quickly. Got to switch it up here. So we have winds coming right here going towards the radar, and the reds are going away. So in between there, if you imagine you had a paper towel roll or a pencil, and those were your hands and you're pushing opposite directions, you could make the paper towel roll or the pencil rotate. Yes. And so this is what the atmosphere does. It helps rotate that air. But it looks very broad. I mean, it's not as tight. And when you hear us say that, you're like, Brad, what does that mean? You know, for us, a tight circulation would be a really small one like that, where we would be really, really worried. When we see them broader like that, that's usually the thunderstorm itself rotating and not the actual storm. So Larry, we've got a pretty impressive view there.
That's our view camera uptown, and kind of looking out to the southeast in that general direction.
Really low cloud base.
Very low deck of clouds out there. And just an indication of that pattern that we're in. And it's such a fast-moving system that if you are in Cabarrus County, that southern part of Cabarrus County right now, be prepared for this storm system to move in your direction probably in the next short while, within the next maybe 10 to 12 minutes. It's moving very fast. If the circulation is in the thunderstorm, could be 800 to 1,000 feet up. It doesn't mean that we're not getting some very gusty winds out there. It could cause a lot of problems. Tree limbs down. We've had some power outages already in some areas, so that could be another issue we're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, and the reason that low cloud base caught my eye and caught Larry's eye is when we see low cloud bases like that, that's usually a sign that if there is rotation within the storm, it has a very short distance to work its way down to the surface. Basically, the shorter the distance between the ground and the cloud, the easier it is for a tornado to actually form. So we've got, who is this? This is the Plaza Midwood area. Okay.
Yeah, Storm Tracker is out there right now. We're driving along, and you can see some heavy rain in the Plaza Midwood area. I think a little bit lighter clouds, the direction that they are moving. We take this right on the plaza there, going through some of the neighborhoods. But as you can see, very heavy rainfall causing ponding of water. So be careful. If you have to drive, be very careful. Better not to drive. This is over towards the South Tryon area. View from there, some of the traffic. Just some, maybe quarter to half an inch of rainfall in some areas. First one, Doppler radar. And once again, a tornado warning for Cabarrus and Mecklenburg County. And this is a fast-moving storm system.
So let me give you an update on where that is, Larry. Now, it is moving so quickly. It's now about to cross Independence. So it's going to go across 74 here near Idlewild. So once it moves through there, it's heading towards Sheffield Park area, the Windsor Park area,
the old East Mall area.
Yeah. The Charlotte Country Club area. That the Evergreen Nature Preserve is over there. Commonwealth Parks. Think of those areas. That's where the circulation
Reedy
is.
Creek Park in that area.
And it's moving.
Very fast.
Probably going to be on 485 here. in another, I'd say, couple of minutes because of how fast it's moving. I think we're going to see it cross out. So this is looking kind of towards the southeast from Uptown. This is on top of the View Building, if you know where that is in Uptown. And this is about as far to the east as we can get that camera. So we're looking basically down towards the Myers Park, Dilworth area, if you will, and towards South End. That's kind of the direction that is facing. And you could see it actually looks like it's clearing off to the east there.
Yeah,
so
we kind of pan the camera around more and then more looking
So we're probably seeing the back side of this storm. And with that little bit of clearing, sometimes you can see the structure. So just to give you a wider view so we don't get tunnel vision on this one storm, I will pass along that we just had a tornado watch issued for most of our area till 7 p.m. Now remember the difference between a watch and a warning. A watch means conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form. A warning means one has been spotted on radar or has actually been indicated by a trained spotter. So we're actually have both right now. The watch was issued because we expect more storms to develop this afternoon. And in that same vein, I will tell you, we're getting some warnings coming out of the upstate of South Carolina. So that watch is up for that next batch, basically, that we have conditions favorable.
That's a big area that it is covering, and there's enough instability. And we've had enough severe weather in the southeast today that we could certainly see more here as we kind of zoom in and show you the areas that we're talking about over in East Charlotte. Once again, over towards crossing over Highway 74, almost following Harris Boulevard in that area as it tracks in that direction and eventually into Cabarrus County.
Yeah. The good news is, Larry, it looks like it's a little bit weaker now, but it is crossing 74. And I know, Vanessa, we have crews kind of spread out all over the place. It's tough to keep up with these storms, but we have crews kind of in other locations, and they're kind of telling us what they're seeing.
Yeah, so true, right? We have our crews that were kind of out stationed working on other stories, and of course, quick pivot and to kind of get a feel for what the weather conditions are like in their areas. We want to head over to Brandon Goldner, who is out at South Tryon near 485, and it looks relatively calm where you are, Brandon. Have you seen any of that rain or winds yet?
Yeah, Vanessa, so the storm has passed by as we're on the back end of the storm. Those sets of dark clouds that you see beyond me, that is that storm that passed through here. It was a very fast-moving storm. It was a few minutes of just that intense rain falling down and really can blind drivers, especially at those high speeds. As soon as that storm passed, heard a lot of ambulance sirens and fire truck sirens. Keeping an eye also on Gaston County, which was kind of the first parts of the area, parts of Gaston County and York County, where we heard about this tornado warning. It sounds like preliminary, not so many reports of damage. However, there were reports of some roads that saw some standing water. Dallas High Shoals Highway in Gaston County, an officer there reported 2 inches of standing water. So a lot of the roadway, particularly in South Tryon, was covered in water for a little bit, just that thin sheet of water that splashes up as soon as cars go through it fairly quickly. I'm not sure if we have the video that I shot just a few minutes earlier. Really a, for lack of a better term, night or day difference when it comes to the conditions that were just really 5 minutes ago and what we're seeing now. The sun is back up, the roads are starting to dry out, but that storm is really pushing through very quickly, very windy, a heavy gust of rain. Send it back over to you guys from South Charlotte.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, it's interesting. Brandon was mentioning how quickly it moved through his area because that syncs up with exactly what you're seeing, right, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, and these are tough. I'll be honest with you, I really despise the fast-moving storms because you have very little time to get these warnings out. By the time you issue them, sometimes they're on you. And you could see the warning still in effect for Mecklenburg and Cabarrus till 1:45. We've seen these kind of outrun the polygon, but they have produced some pretty gusty winds. We have no confirmation of tornado touchdown, but we are getting some damage pictures and reports in. One of our spotters, one of my Twitter followers, sent this in from the Mooresville-Davidson area off of Shears Road, some tree branches coming down. And Larry was mentioning this earlier. We've seen some really gusty winds. Now, there's 2 things going on today. One, obviously, we have these strong thunderstorms, but there's something we refer to as a low-level jet. It's a jet stream in the lowest levels of the atmosphere, about 5,000 feet or lower. It sometimes is associated with these warm fronts, and it's supplying the feed of moisture and instability for these storms, but it also has pretty strong winds in it. So we're seeing these winds gusting across the area that could even knock down trees and power lines. So we're seeing a lot of wind down there, even if we don't have confirmed tornado in any of these so far, except for the radar signatures have been tight briefly and then they dissipate. And Larry, as we look at this storm is now past 74. It's going out towards 24, but the circulation is really broad and diffuse, and basically it's not as small as it looked earlier. It looks like it's kind of weakened quite a bit.
Now more or less a severe thunderstorm.
Yeah.
On Weather 3, if you go to Weather 3, I have this shot of uptown, and then the background looking directly east, you can see the big storm clouds over there. That would be almost directly east, and where the camera angle is right there.
That would have been the top of that storm, and looking at that, just eyeballing, I bet that was 40,000 feet up there. Though the storms overall have not been super tall today, because we haven't seen a ton of lightning, but there's so much wind shear in the atmosphere that these storms have not had to grow very tall to produce rotation in them. And I expect we're going to see additional storms with rotation, Larry, now that this watch is out, and we've got, looks like more storms developing to the south in an atmosphere that is a little bit more unstable down there because the sun has been out. And not only that, it's, sometimes sunshine is one of those things people immediately think about, but if you just move or advect really muggy air in from the south, that can be the fuel for these storms. And that's what we have kind of beneath this warm front, which came in earlier. I'm going to basically say the warm front's probably up in here now. So anywhere along or south of that warm front, there's enough fuel for these storms to get really, really strong today.
And you can see that almost like Interstate 85 corridor. This is Atlanta, Georgia has had one severe storm and several tornado warnings. This is all that same weather system. There's enough instability that we're going to see that, as Brad was saying, throughout the afternoon with these storms developing.
Yeah, I mean, look at all those warnings, Larry. There's 3 separate tornado warnings in this system. One over us, one in the upstate Georgia line, and then another one southeast of Atlanta. So we're not out of the woods once this first storm moves through. Right. We might see additional warnings. Now, we have some more video coming in from across the area, and we referenced this earlier, rapid runoff.
Yes, ponding of water, look at that.
I mean, look at that. And you think, oh, we need the rain. Yeah, part of the problem when you don't get rain for a long period of time, the ground gets really, really hard, and when it rains heavily, sometimes it runs off real quickly, like it's almost pavement, and it doesn't have time to soak in. So
and storm drains that probably haven't been cleaned out. That causes problems right there. All the construction, that's another issue. So any of these areas, we're going to get a lot of very heavy rain, gusty winds, and potential for more storms to redevelop in the afternoon. This tornado warning is in effect at 1:45 this afternoon.
Look how fast. This is a 1-hour loop. So what you're looking at is 1 hour of data updated every minute. And that storm has basically moved from central York County to almost Cabarrus County in about an hour. So it is absolutely flying pretty much at highway speeds, just a little bit below that, maybe 45, 50 miles per hour at times. It's fluctuated quite a bit between 40 and 45. It has really just been coming, really fast and furious from the southwest. And unfortunately, as Larry mentioned, along I-85 south, it looks like we're going to have additional storms move in. So let's go back to the storm that's warned for. And I just want to take a quick peek at the velocity data. The good news here is I do not see anything on the radar that would indicate that this is still producing a tornado. Now, they're not going to just cancel the warning. We're going to wait a couple scans because sometimes these storms do what we call, they cycle. They basically develop a rotation, it weakens, and then, so they expired. So basically, as I'm laying out why they probably won't let it go, they're going to let this expire here. It looks like 1:41 p.m. They're going to clear it out. So they expired the tornado warning for Cabarrus and Mecklenburg County. It's still showing up in our system, but it has been canceled by the National Weather Service. Same thing, no couplet. They can't see anything either, so they're just going to go ahead and cancel this warning. So it looks like for the time being, this warning is going to expire. But before we leave you, we're going to head back to programming here in a minute. And I want to reiterate this because we're probably not done.
There's probably going to be a break here.
Yeah.
A good break in this. And so mid-afternoon, late afternoon, we could see some of these strong storms.
Look at all that.
That is a lot going on down there.
That is a lot of severe weather about to head our way. And as we mentioned, there is a new tornado watch up till 7 p.m. that does include most of areas south and east of I-85. That does include the Charlotte metro area, as well as most of the upstate, and then goes out towards the Sandhills. So that includes Mecklenburg, Cabarrus, Stanley, Anson, Richmond, Chesterfield, Lancaster, York, and Chester counties. And this is until 7 o'clock. But the good news, we can tell you the tornado warning has expired. Remember, if you want to get these warnings and watch us streaming when you're away from the TV, you got to grab the WCNC Charlotte app. This app is a lifesaver in these situations because you get the warning, 1, but 2, you can watch us live on the phone in your safe spot. You don't have to be be sitting in front of the TV. That's not where we want you in these situations.
And if you lose power,
Yep.
you're going to have that.
We want you in that closet or that
Yes.
bathroom, and this is a great way to keep up to date. So we can give you the all clear for now in Mecklenburg County. The warning has expired, but if additional warnings are issued, you can find us right there on the app, online and on air. We're now going to return to your programming, already in progress.